In tests all over the country, people are being asked, can you tell new stock from butter? How about you, madam? Never mind, most people can't. Can you tell new stock from butter?
Excuse me, can you tell new stock from butter? You can't? Never mind. You're not the only one. A nationwide series of tasting tests is being held to give people a chance of comparing new stock with butter. At Dundee, for example, 448 out of 548 simply could not tell the difference. How about you? Can you tell new stock from butter?
Madam, can you tell new stock from butter? No? Well, don't worry. You're certainly not the only one. At stock tasting tests all over the country, people are trying to tell new stock from butter. So far, 2,447 out of 3,018 who have tried just could not tell the difference. How about you? Can you tell new stock from butter? In tests all over the country, people are being asked, can you tell new stock from butter? How about you, sir? Never mind, most people can't. Can you tell new stock from butter? In tests all over the country, people are being asked, can you tell new stock from butter? How about you, madam? Never mind, most people can't. Can you tell new stock from butter?
Well, Dave?
Mark, great demo. You get the contract for 150,000. Congratulations. Mark? If that's no good, you better say no. I can probably push it to 170. Mark? Don't go all quiet on me. What do you want, blood? Come on, 185 then. That's my final offer. Mark? All right, 200 grand.
Brilliant. It's a deal.
Holston Export. Less is more.
So, 2 years at infant school, and she thinks she can tell us how to run things. Well, we won't have it.
She's coming in on the red eye.
She won't have had time to use her office desk,
Or her slough sticky tape.
or that teddy clipboard, or use her typewriter.
She'll be like a jelly baby. To the slaughter.
Pleasant trip.
Yes, thank you.
Well, baby, I'm thinking about your chocolate. Well, baby, I'm thinking about your taste. Well, baby, I'm thinking about your chocolate. Thinking about your taste. Well, baby, I'm thinking about your chocolate. Thinking about your taste. Well, baby, I'm thinking about your chocolate. Well, baby, I'm thinking about your taste. Well, baby, I'm thinking about your chocolate. Thinking about your taste. Well, baby, I'm thinking about your chocolate. Thinking about your taste.
Condor pipe tobacco. In a man's world of big pleasures, get the big Condor taste. Put Condor in your pipe and taste it. Get the big Condor taste.
Fruits that are best are the fruits that have been washed. Whitwoods are a girl's best friend. They're easy, use them straight from the packet. Whitwoods are a girl's best friend. Plump and clean, the finest you've seen in the perfect kind of pack. So make sure you get them. Spin washed by Whitwoods. Whitwoods are a girl's best friend. Wow! Everything all right, darling? The broccoli! And the potatoes! Oh, and the sauce! Oh, darling, don't leave that and help! Turn down the knobs. And water in the sauce. And stir. Oh. And now the OXO cubes. 2.
I always use 2 OXO cubes for gravy because Philip likes it nice and meaty. Add OXO and in go 9 extra ingredients. Good things like beef extract that make gravy taste better.
It's delicious, darling. Congratulations.
And OXO gravy gives a meal man appeal.
Katie speaking. Philip's trying to read his paper, but he can smell the OXO jack potatoes I'm cooking. A good, rich smell's half the secret of cooking, isn't it? Pretty tasty, I'd say. All right, Philip, supper's ready. Did you know that you add all the flavors of 9 delicious ingredients when you add OXO?
That smells good. Clever girl.
You see, the advertisement's right. OXO gives a meal man appeal.
Since I escaped from the hurly-burly daily agency life and came to live here at Tufel, I've had more time to think. I've been thinking a lot about the agency business. Perhaps if I tell you what I've been thinking, you can start where I leave off. First, a word about the people who hire us to do their advertising, our clients. You know, some clients are an inspiration, and some are a malediction. My motto has always been, only first-class business, and that in a first-class way. Identify yourself with your clients. Get to know their business thoroughly. Always tell the client what you would do if you were in his shoes, but never grudge him the prerogative of deciding what advertising to run. It's his product, it's his company, and it's his money. You know, what clients want from us is big ideas. Unless your advertising has a big idea, it will pass like a ship in the night. I once dreamed a big idea, a wagon with 2 white horses delivering Pepperidge Farm bread. That wagon is still being used today, 25 years later. If a researched man like me can come up with big ideas, so can you. So you don't have to be a copywriter. So-called creative people have no monopoly on good ideas. So be ambitious. Raise your sights. Blaze new trails. Try to make advertising history. Are you a hard worker? There's a saying in Scotland that hard work never killed a man. I can't stand lazy people. If you work twice as hard as the person in the next office, you will achieve 5 times as much and climb the ladder like a bat out of hell. I also hate toadies. People who suck up to their bosses and bully people at lower levels. I don't like office politicians or liars. I don't like poachers or crybabies or buck passers. I admire people with guts under pressure, resilience in adversity, imagination, curiosity, grace, human kindness, and intellectual honesty. I love people who make me laugh, and I've got a special weakness for sailors and skiers and bird watchers and mountaineers. I like gentlemen with brains. Are you having any fun? I've noticed that agencies which are full of fun and foment seem to create the best advertising. There's another Scottish proverb, be happy while you're living, for you're a long time dead. If you're not happy in advertising, for goodness sake, find a job in which you would be happy. Because as far as I know, we pass this way only once. The people who contribute most in our business have a marvelous quality of enthusiasm, gusto, infectious gusto. They're innovative. The beginning of greatness in advertising is to be different, and the beginning of failure is to be orthodox. I cannot tell you what a lot I've learned by picking other people's brains. People like Raymond Rubicam and Dr. Gallup and John Caples. Whose brains are you picking? Learn to write well. Learn to write lucid, well-organized memos and letters. I've noticed that the best writers in Ogilvy and Mather happen to be the directors of our company. Don't fritter away your time in committees. If you're a copywriter, shut the door and write, all by yourself. Committees can criticize, but they cannot create. Never run an advertisement you wouldn't want your own family to see. Tell the truth, but make the truth fascinating. You know, you can't bore people into buying your product. You can only interest them in buying it. The consumer's not a moron. She's your wife. Don't insult her intelligence, and don't shock her. A lot of consumers are not as sophisticated as you are. You may think it's amusing to make fun of clergymen, but a lot of people don't. Most of the work you do in the advertising business is routine, maintenance work. But every now and then you get an opportunity to do something special. This is your golden moment. Cover yourself with glory, rise to the occasion, give it everything you've got. Work day and night until the job is done. Do this and you'll never have to ask for a promotion, never have to ask for a raise. See this Russian doll of mine? It's my favorite doll. It contains the secret of success in advertising management, agency management. It's the big one on the outside, and I'm going to undo it. Inside there's a smaller one, and then a smaller one. We get down, smaller, and smaller, and smaller, and smaller. This is a little dwarf doll, and inside there's a message. And I'm going to read it to you. Listen. If each of us has someone smaller than we are, we shall become a company of dwarfs. But if each of us has someone bigger than we are, we shall become a company of giants.
The fruit, really clean, is the fruit that is been washed. Witwoods are a girl's best friend. Sultanas, currants, don't forget the raisins. Witwoods are a girl's best friend. They're the fruits to choose, ready to use, and sure to be really clean. Choose the plumpest, the cleanest, finest fruits by far. Witwoods are a girl's best friend.
A pipe does something for a man. St. Bruno does something more. St. Bruno, flake or rough cut.
My problem was my husband. He's a cab driver, and he gets his collars really dirty, and he gets all grime here from where his badge sits. It was a real problem getting them white, till my big sister told me about Daz Automatic. And I've also found it's a little cheaper. When he gets home, you ought to see him. Do they get in a mess with that go-kart? They don't care. Good old Mum, she'll get it clean. And with Daz, I really surprised myself. Everything came up so white. The colours were great, but it was the whites I noticed. Brilliant they were. The marks had gone. With Daz, I'm proud of my whites, even if it is only for 5 minutes.
Try Daz on your whites. Lynn Pierce did. And she won't swap.
I didn't think there was a powder that could cope with my kids until my husband went shopping and came back with Daz Automatic. If there's a puddle, Tracy will find it. Rachel lives in trees, and the boys, well, they're the worst. With the Daz, it all came out so white. I just couldn't believe it. You can't tell with the jeans because they're darker anyway. The whites, they really stood out. You know, you always get this little bit that's left in, especially in the seams. With the Daz, it all came out. I feel really proud knowing I don't have to hide the socks at one end. Daz costs a little less, and if it can get my kids' clothes white, it'll get anything white.
Try Daz on your whites. Kathleen Cook did. And she won't swap.
With a husband like mine, I've always depended on my old Daz, so I wasn't too sure when they brought out this new Daz. Malcolm gets really mucky when he's out delivering cheese, especially on the sleeves, you know, in the creases. I can smell what cheese he's been carrying as soon as he comes home. When I tried this new Daz, I was amazed how extra white everything was. Of course, it's harder to tell with the colours. It was the whites that convinced me. I kept looking at the sleeves. I couldn't believe the marks had gone. Well, they wouldn't have gone with the old Daz. Working for a food company, the standards are very high. And with this new Daz, so are mine.
If you go by the whites, you'll go for new Daz.
Now my whites are even whiter.
If you thought Daz was unbeatable on whites, then I've got news for you. New Daz, it's even tougher on dirt.
My boys are both very dirty. They bring these little action figures to the table. They walk through the food, and if they get a pile of beans on the table, that to them is added scenery.
So we asked Sharon, who uses Daz, to try new Daz.
I'm really amazed. My old Daz was good, got things white, but this is even whiter. I can really see the difference. This tablecloth was a real mess, had a huge splodge of tomato ketchup on it. The new Daz has brought it out whiter than ever. Now, I wouldn't have been quite so confident with the old Daz. I've had this for 17 years and it's never looked whiter.
So, Sharon, will you swap new Daz for your old Daz?
No, I'll keep new Daz. I want my tablecloth to go on looking white for another 17 years.
New Daz, it's even tougher on dirt for even whiter whites.
My problem was my husband. He's a cab driver, and he gets his collars really dirty, and he gets all grime here from where his badge sits. It was a real problem getting them white, till my big sister told me about Daz Automatic. And I've also found it's a little cheaper. When he gets home, you ought to see him. Do they get in a mess with that go-kart? They don't care. Good old Mum, she'll get it clean. And with Daz, I really surprised myself. Everything came up so white. The colours were great, but it was the whites I noticed. Brilliant they were. The marks had gone. With Daz, I'm proud of my whites, even if it is only for 5 minutes.
Try Daz yourself in the hot whites wash. If you go by the whites, we think you'll change to Daz.
It's brilliant.
I didn't think there was a powder that could cope with my kids until my husband went shopping and came back with Daz Automatic. If there's a puddle, Tracy will find it. Rachel lives in trees, and the boys, well, they're the worst. With the Daz, it all came out so white. I just couldn't believe it. You can't tell with the jeans because they're darker anyway. The whites, they really stood out. You know, you always get this little bit that's left in, especially in the seams. With the Daz, it all came out. I feel really proud knowing I don't have to hide the socks at one end. Daz costs a little less, and if it can get my kids' clothes white, it'll get anything white.
Try Daz yourself in the hot whites wash. If you go by the whites, we think you'll change to Daz.
And I'll bring your whites up white.
3 years ago, when Susie was 7, I only watched her school play. Today, I'm producing it. I think lots of things have changed for the better in our family. For instance, 3 years ago, my washing powder only got things clean. Today, my powder takes the trouble to get them soft and fresh, too. Here it is, Bold 3.
It now has more cleaning power, enriched conditioner. It's better all round. So as well as cleaning, Bold 3 softens and freshens like no other powder can.
See these tracksuits? Once I'd have been glad just to get them this clean, but now they're lovely and soft, too. And, so fresh. I think we've all changed for the better.
New enriched Bold 3, a real change for the better.
Hello. Why have you chosen that automatic powder?
Oh, I usually have this one.
And your powder copes with the really tough whites, does it?
Fairly well. That's about the best I've come across yet.
Here's a real breakthrough in automatic powders, new Bold 2, and it'll wash your tough whites noticeably cleaner than your powder.
You sure? No, I'm never convinced until it's proved.
OK, let's go and prove it. Well, these are two Bendix home laundry sensors, the latest washer dryers, and for the real cleaning test, here are identical whites with tough kitchen dirt. Now have a look at that.
Coffee and beetroot. Tough ones to get out, anyway.
You're the expert, you do the test. What do the tough whites prove? This is the one that was washed in your powder.
It's very good. It's still got a few stains on there. What I'm used to, you know.
And the Bold wash?
That's a breakthrough, isn't it? I think the family would be very surprised. Very, very good. It's devastating, actually, you know. Well, there's no two ways about it. I shall definitely use Bold 2 in the future.
New Bold 2 can wash cleaner than your automatic powder. The tough whites prove it.
Hello. Why did you
Morning.
choose that automatic powder?
Well, it's one of the leading brands, isn't it?
Well, here's a real breakthrough in automatic powders. New Bold 2. It'll wash your whites noticeably cleaner than your powder.
Well, why?
Bold 2 has a unique double action. Biological action and new advanced cleaning action. You come and prove it.
All right, then. You want me to try it? Okay, I
Okay.
will.
Here are two Hoover 1100s with high spin speed, and for the real cleaning test, here are identical whites with tough kitchen dirt.
Pretty dirty. Chocolate, blackcurrant. Dreadful.
You're the expert. You do the test. Hoover approved Bold 2. Let's see what you think. What do the tough whites prove?
Well, I thought it would be clean, but obviously it's left a few stains there.
And the Bold wash?
That's clean, isn't it? That's very clean. Yes, that's far better. Much cleaner looking. I'm quite surprised, actually, to see the difference. Fantastic, it is.
So which will you buy now?
New Bold number 2, please.
New Bold 2 can wash cleaner than your automatic powder. The tough whites prove it.